So Todd, you joined in software around 95, 96.
Yeah, 1996.
When Quake was released.
Yep, started in October 1996, right after the first Quake was released into retail in the U.S.
Yeah. So how come you chose that kind of area?
Well, it's kind of it's an interesting story. I actually was in the public accounting field in the U.S. and it was a client of mine. So I had advised them on a number of matters, and ultimately they offered me the job way back, 12 years ago. And back then, I think the company was 12 or 13 people and was very small, and now we're 60. So. It's been for me. It's been a good choice. No more suits and ties and lace-up shoes. So now I get to wear cool black shirts and have long hair.
Yeah, and it's fun also to work with games. Actually, it's
absolutely.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, I love it. Part of the job was cool for me is because I was a fan of the games before I even knew how to pronounce the name of the company. I called it ID Software. But Wolf 3D was one of my favorite games to play, and I literally would play it trying to find all the secret areas, walking up against walls, hitting spacebar until I was motion sick, because I'm a little bit susceptible to that. So I would play until I had to lay down in the bed from playing. So to actually come to work for the company, it was a pretty cool thing for me. The competitive nature of the industry is part of what makes it so cool to work in, because everybody is always really trying to do things that are original and new from a technology standpoint, but you're also always trying to do new content. It's to compare it to the film industry, we sort of say is that it's sort of like shooting a movie, except for every time you make a new one, you have to reinvent the camera. Yeah. And so it's a very dynamic, technology-driven industry. There's a lot of smart people in it. There's a lot of very creative people in it, and as an art form, I think that games are finally getting the recognition that they deserve, that people realize that it's not just something for kids, that adults play games. In fact, statistically, adults make up the majority of the actual gaming market now. So it's great to be able to work, especially at a company like id, where we're always working on new stuff. John Carmack is always pushing the technology envelope, and so there are always tons of challenges in front of us, and really sort of the sense of accomplishment to some extent is commensurate with what you have to overcome to get there.
And it also have some kind of advantage when it comes to the engines. It is one of the guys. John Carmack has actually done a lot of work.
John is. I think that
now you release Tech 5.
Yeah, with id Tech 5 and really with all the previous generations of technology, John has really set sort of the bar for the industry in whatever field that it is that he's working on. Certainly from first-person shooter experience, John really has going all the way back to Wolfenstein 3D, to Doom, to Quake 3, to Doom 3, now with Rage and id Tech 5. Every time John has sat down to go out and sort of change the way things are done in the industry is that he's able to really accomplish amazing things.
So what games can we expect, the latest games here?
So we've got, it's right now is an exciting time for us at id, because we have so many things that we're working on, and so many of them are new. So we just released the console versions for Enemy Territory Quake Wars, so those are still fresh and new. Right on the heels of that, we have the beta test program going for Quake Live, which is sort of Quake 3 for free through a web browser, and we everybody here at Quakecon is going to be able to participate in the beta program, so they get a beta key, and we're looking to actually go full and final with that sometime here, hopefully in the not too distant future. We've been talking about Rage, which is in development, of course, at sort of our main core studio at id, and has been powered by John Carmack's new id Tech 5 engine. But also we're working with Raven and Activision on the new Wolfenstein game, and
it's going to be based on Tech 5 engine.
Wolfenstein is going to be based on sort of a modified version of the id Tech 4 engine.
Okay.
It's further along in development than Rage and has been in development for a longer period of time. Also want to make sure and mention that in addition to Raven, Pi Studios, which is sort of a startup developer, although they've been around a little while. A lot of people haven't heard of them just because you got to have glasses to read the logo on the back of the box these days. But those guys are exceptionally talented and are helping us in Raven make the new Wolfenstein game. And one of the cool things we get to do here at Quakecon is let everybody play Quake Live. We'll have new stuff to show at the press conference today for Rage. We'll have new stuff to show for Wolfenstein. We'll even have a bit of Doom news that's coming up.
Cool.
Don't really have a lot of the game to show yet, but we announced a while ago that we were hiring for Doom, which was kind of not the best way to announce that the game was in development, but we're making that official now. So that's super cool and exciting for us, and we continue to hire and get that team up and running, and development is actually underway there. So we got a ton of stuff, plus all the stuff that we're doing on the mobile phone side. So we got Wolfenstein RPG, and we'll be talking about Doom 2 RPG and some iPhone stuff. So a lot of exciting stuff going on.
I'm curious a little bit about concerning Quake Live. It was called Quake 0 in the beginning. And how did you guys think when you started on the drawing board concerning Quake Live? Would it be aimed for the esports, or
when we were concepting out Quake Live, we felt first of all that Quake 3 had essentially the perfect deathmatch style experience. It's still the most popular deathmatch game by the numbers on sort of the GameSpy stats. And if you ask the pro players, they'll if they get their choice of games to play, they'll almost always, to a man, say that they want to play Quake 3. So when we started, we felt like that we had the core of what we wanted to do was something that was competitive, action-based, something that would translate into sort of the esports or competitive gaming arena. But also at the same time is that we realized that we couldn't just focus on the people who are the professional gamers that make a living playing games, because that's such a narrow slice of the population. To really be able to have something to get traction and have a lot of popularity, it needed to have a broader appeal. And
so the modding scene then, or it's going to be easy for the modding scene to customize
the way Quake Live is a little bit different in that regard than some of the other games have been. Is that we're not going to open it up and allow people to just mod everything, because we need to be in control of what's actually downloaded and served. What content is served up to people's computers. We have to be able to do that in an efficient manner, a quick manner, since it's all played through a web browser and there's not actually a game install on your machine. But I think what we want to try to do is incorporate the best elements. In fact, we're working with a lot of the people who have created popular Quake 3 mods. We have them working with us on Quake Live and sort of incorporating kind of the best of the best there, so that we still, even though we may not have this openness for mods like we had with Quake 3, that we do have the best elements of that in Quake Live. And it's not to say that if somebody wants to play a specific mod or something like that was made for Quake 3, certainly they can still go out and do that.
Maybe you can, in some kind of open opportunity to I don't know, this is the game Quake Live is server based to a client, and maybe you can have a special. If you have
we could do, for example, working with the community, if people wanted to do like mod contests and things like that, and by popular demand, whether it's by play hours or votes or whatever, people could have that actually incorporated into, here's part of the official stuff. And the awesome thing about having it where you kind of get the game every time you log in and play, as opposed to having an install, is that we can have stuff that if it works we keep it, and if it doesn't, then it just sort of goes away.